So right now I'm in Paris. We just had the animation week, which was crazy. So many talented animators from all over the world. And I ran into Puma here, which if you don't know, spreading tutting all over the world. I know him from the Geometric Madness, which is the biggest tutting online contest that's happening, pushing tutting. So I wanted to meet him and get to know who is this man that's pushing this. So Puma, who are you? Are you where you from and how you started? Like,
Thanks for having me, bro. It's a pleasure because you've been participating a lot into the event and showing some great stuff. So really appreciate that. So I'm Dapuma. I started dance a while ago because my mom was a dancer, but she was doing like contemporary jazz and shit like that. So I was always into dance, but then I fell in love with hip hop, and I learned that it was a dance connected with the culture. So I first started with new style, but everything that interests me in new style was like the geometric parts. But back then, I didn't knew it has a name. I didn't know it was studying, so I was like focusing on looking at all the dancers that do geometry without knowing what it really was. And then I discovered it, and I went full in it.
wow, into the tutting.
The studying, yeah,
The
that's right.
tutting. Wow. And why you've created these events? What's the goal for the tutting events, Geometric Madness? What is your goal?
I started the event. First of all, the idea was for telling people to be able to express themselves out of the categories that are already established and that doesn't take studying in consideration as a style on its own. Like my simple example is popping in France, where myself I have to learn how to pop, how to animate, how to do books, and then put my tests in it for people to understand it. But I wanted to create a space where people don't have to do that work. Like if they just want to do TEDs, they are free to do TEDs and being judged just based on that, without having to specially move the body or everything. I wanted to create a space where people can freely express themselves through TEDing. I bet.
Tutting. No, that's beautiful. And I see it now. More and more people are just creating angles and tutting. And I know you did many interviews
Yeah,
to
that's
know
right.
the history and what are people doing with tutting. I would like to ask you, when you're tutting, when you're creating, what goes through your mind? What's your creativity?
In terms of creativity, I really try to depends when it's really I try to focus on the grid. Then I try to explore the grids on all the way I can, like trying to find positions that I haven't seen before or really a few times. Try to explore in them, and then the work that I'm doing now is not that much on creativity. Is with all that I've created, how can I deliver it in a way that everybody can understand? Because I felt like I've created a lot of stuff, but sometimes you just throw them out. You
Right.
feel me? Because it's a new technique, you feel it's like it's beautiful and shit, you want to show it, but it doesn't have really purpose behind it.
Right.
And I'm trying to put a purpose behind all the moves that I created, like to make the style more complete in a sense.
Wow. The work that you're putting in to make sense
Yeah,
to
yeah.
people. Wow. What do you think the future will look like for tutting?
I think it's really bright because I think I've opened the window that people are now pushing through. Because I've seen events in the Philippines, I've seen events in Vietnam,
Right.
I've seen now events in Brazil. I know in the US, y'all been like the first ones, but now India is developing a lot too.
Right.
And all those communities, I think in a certain point, they're gonna gather together, and that's where the force is created. Like today with the animation event, having people from Japan, from Korea, from USA, all gather in one place. That makes the unity, that creates the community, and that makes people being more confident of themselves on what they're working on, I think. And it creates links, and I think art and creativity is part of that, because one of the definitions of creativity is mixing two things. You feel me? And if I take part of your style, you take part of mine, then I can create new things. It's a new sort of creativity.
Yes, combining. I feel the fact that you have the geometric madness, when I tell people about tutting, I tell them to look at that page because it's a perfect place to see everything
Yeah.
all over the world. It's like a book. I would like to ask you, in your journey, how long have you been dancing?
It's been like 10 years.
10
No,
years?
more.
More than 10 years?
12. Yeah,
12
years.
years? Is there a memory that stands out, like a memory that you had in your journey that you always remember, or maybe it influenced you?
Yeah, I think it's kind of cliche, but it's the day I've met my big homie, Mr. Steam,
Oh, okay.
because before that I was studying on my own and doing videos and having some support on the internet and but then I met an OG who have already dedicated his life to studying,
Wow.
and in Europe he's kind of the only one who have pushed it far.
Yeah.
And meeting him and having the confirmation of him, chilling with him,
Yes.
him teaching me the grid, the fixed points, I was like, oh, okay, so it's not just me.
Yes.
This is really a thing. You
Yes.
feel me?
Yes.
Because sometimes you feel alone and it takes out some confidence. You feel me?
Yes,
But
I
when you gather with some people, this is what you create. And the first Geometric Madness event for me was a huge memory too, because I had strobe, I had steen, I've put myself because I didn't thought that people would accept like judging without budget because it was the first edition and I was expecting 20 people, maybe 30.
Wow.
And first edition we had is the one where we had the most people. We had 130 people in the
Wow.
prelims.
You're a community leader. You create community.
I try.
You do it. You're doing it. My last question I want to ask you is, if the world was listening to you right now,
Okay.
if the world was listening to you, what would you want to tell the world? It could be any message. I know it's a big question.
Yeah, it's a big question, but I think if we take it like overall, not speaking just about tutting,
Yes.
I will encourage everybody to find their passion and stick to it. I know it's a lot of sacrifice. In France, we call it the big jump, like jumping in the water and
Yes.
don't know where you're going.
Yes.
But as soon as you find something that gives you passion, you don't wake up in the morning like you have to work. It becomes part of you, and I think everybody can find it, even if it's in dance, in wood making,
Anything.
in anything. As soon as you really like it and love it, you can bring something new to this, and I think that's the beauty of humanity, because we all similar, kind of.
Yes, we
but
are.
Everybody got something unique.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yes.
So I will encourage everybody to find their unicity.
Wow. I want to thank you, Puma, again for just doing what you do for the community.
Thanks a lot,
And I do in the future. We're going to meet again. You're going to come to LA again because I
Yeah.
know you've been there, and it's going to be beautiful. So
Thank you, bro.
Thank you again, bro.
A
For
pleasure
real.
seeing you again.
Yes, sir. Yes.